real quick on the accountability and responsibility thing. Sorry, I just really want to know the answer. So it seems like responsibility is what your I wanted to use both those words, the action or duty that's within like your control, and accountability is what happens after you take an action or whatever the outcome is. That's what you are taking accountability for. So it's like responsibility first, and then whatever happens you're accountable for that. I don't know if that helps, but all right, that's it.
One of the things I can't, something is wrong with my phone. I literally saved it to my
She will
favorite,
upgrade.
and all my favorites are gone right now. Like I had a whole folder that had studies and everything. So I'm really upset. But basically, from the definition that I found that explained it very well, responsibility basically is and something that other people can actually like. Well, let me start with accountability is self-inflicted, so to speak. You can hold yourself accountable. Nobody can hold you accountable because it's self-directed. Whereas responsibility, although you can be responsible for yourself, responsibilities can also be put upon you by outside forces as well. So when men are saying like, we're held accountable, the state, the government holds us accountable when we don't do X, Y, and Z. They're not holding you accountable. They're holding you responsible. So that's what we were kind of discussing in terms of getting things mixed up in terms of what accountability is and what responsibility is. So on that show, in the context of the way everything happened, no one could have held her accountable. Only she could hold herself accountable because that's self-directed. The
Hmm.
And I will hold myself accountable for not using the mute button.
now she
So
can be held responsible
Mm.
for her behavior, and the responsibility had the consequence because Anton kicked her off the show. So that was but the
Responsible.
definition that I found, it spoke to it so clearly, and I'm mad because I saved it. Now I
It's
can
funny. It's funny that I got more pushback for Shan thinking I was about to go off, and y'all was about to push back on me for thinking I was about to go off, and she got no pushback at all,
I
equating to
was
that.
joking with you,
No, no, no,
Ali.
no, no, no. Hold on, no, no, no. I don't. Nah. I'm listen. We can rewind it. It could might possibly be a joke, and Marcus, you could say that too. But I don't know that, and to me, honestly, I don't believe a lot of that. I just don't. I don't believe it.
I said I'm just playing. Like I literally said it.
I know,
we
but
need
I'm
to
I'm
see her
just so.
face.
Oh, look at no.
I
I'm
can't
saying I
see
don't.
her.
I'm just saying I don't believe it because I'm so used to it. And I'm nice and respectful to women. Hink, the fact that we can't just say that if she was a lady, 100% of the time that wouldn't have happened dealing with a man like Hink. Hink was being a man. She was being unladylike, and she was rude and disrespectful for a prolonged time, and that would have never happened if she was a lady. And if ladies would have addressed the fact that she was into being a lady, she would have had the ladies. The problem was women don't. You know what the real truth is? Women don't want to deal with other women when they go off like that.
So
Women don't like the pressure. The same thing that a lot of men don't like dealing with. A lot of women do not
That's
like
not
dealing with
true.
other women when I know you're gonna. Yeah, that's the code. But
Okay, so I'm gonna send something to
I,
your text
I
message.
know. I know.
No, so because you think you know, and it stays between you and I. And if you dare to even send it, I will promise to God I will
No, but the fact that
find you.
we can't acknowledge that a woman when she's upset, being erratic too. A lot of women do not want to deal with that. That's why women stand on code, because when a woman's mad, her IQ is gone. She's not coming back down. Most men can be rational and stop when they're becoming upset. When women get upset, it's full blown upset. Y'all know the men know what I'm talking about. Cops can be called. Men
so
ain't gonna call no cops on a woman typically. But go ahead.
so Ali, but I don't fully disagree with you. I hear what you're saying, but I think there's a little bit of difference, right? And let me explain myself. So when a woman gets as far as she did, right? Like and I said this earlier before you hopped on. I think there were some places where the situation could have been handled a little bit differently to de-escalate the situation and not let it get as drastic as it did. But the fact that it did get there, right? There's a point where women understand that woman's not going to hear me. No matter what I say, no matter how I handle the situation, she's not listening. She's not going to respond. She's going to be reactive, and she's going to redirect that level of aggression towards whoever it is that is trying to mitigate the situation. We can't say that it's resting in your femininity and welcome that kind of aggression. That's not how women are built. I'm not saying that men should like be put in that line of fire. Again, I said that the situation should have been handled earlier on in order to de-escalate and not get it there. But women understand that woman's so far gone, she's not listening. She's just spitting fire at whoever is giving her any amount of attention. There's a certain point that women reach with each other that when you get to that level of irrationality, fully disengage. That's it. You're cut off from attention, from time, from whatever. That even the act of trying to correct that person in that moment is actual attention and feeding that tantrum. Women understand that. Why? Because women do that with children. When a child
with children,
tantrum,
Man,
fair, but I need you to understand that, like, some insight on how a woman's brain works in that type of situation. When you're throwing a tantrum, that's it. You get cut off from any type of attention. But men see that as you're not reacting to the situation. You're not responding to the situation. A lack of response is still a response, right? We talk about that when it comes to men and women, but we seem to ignore that when it comes to women dealing with women. Not responding is still a response. It's not necessarily encouraging, but it's a cutoff of the supply that's energizing you to keep going.
This conversation is like women trying to make a case that most women are ladies. Let me finish. It's like making the case that most women are ladies, but we know behind the scene when we're with most ladies, they're not being ladies. This is much bigger issue to me. This is the fact that women expect men to protect them in violent situations, in domestic situations, and they expect men that's not even their man to protect them. And we can't even collectively as women protect the man when he's a good man when he's being disrespected. That's the main thing. And again, this is cold. We can say what we're saying, but in my experiences, in the brothers' experiences, in the women experiences, women do fight over men. If you get in anywhere near another woman's man, if a woman is attracted to another man, if she wants that man, when it comes to protecting him or being confrontational about him, she will fight, put hands on someone. But this is bigger than that. This is about a man being disrespected. That's the caliber of Hink. He's not the Pookie y'all talk about. He's not the just a kind of guy who's rugged or disrespects women. He's a man that actually comes in these spaces to respect women and protect women. And he wasn't protected collectively by women, but women as a whole expect men to protect them in violent or domestic situations.
I want to speak on Hink's behalf to say that I don't think he was looking to be protected by women.
So I just have one question for Ali.
What? Hold on, Inez.
Jen,
are y'all serious?
To take up for him,
no,
yes.
I was gonna say, he's
No, y'all, hold on. That answer is extremely hold on, Miss Taken. No. See, this is another gaslighting to me. Okay, you took what I just said out of context. Hink don't need nobody's protection as a man. That's not what I said. And y'all know that's not. And if let me finish.
Okay.
His integrity as a man, his presence as a man should have been protected collectively by women. And y'all cannot expect men to protect y'all collectively as a whole, to respect you going forward when women stay on code and don't hold other women accountable, but expect men to hold men and women accountable. Actually, women don't even want the men to hold them accountable. That's the problem. So she got to do what she got to rile him up. She got to be disrespectful to him about coffee. And y'all, we are making excuses about why he was not, his integrity wasn't protected by the women. You didn't have to address her. Y'all really didn't have to address her. You could have said, excuse me, or even if you think she couldn't talk. Hold on. Shan, you know what's funny? You know, and Marcus, the fact you agreed is crazy to me, family. Taken, Shan, Inez, Coach K, these women know they have the power to stop a woman in her tracks. And y'all can say, and I know y'all have.
As many y'all couldn't even stop her in her tracks. So
give me 1 second. Let me cook with Ali for 1 second, right? Because Shan very clearly took accountability for saying that she should have handled that situation differently. I also, when this conversation first started, said, Shan, you should have absolutely exercised that mute button way earlier, right? There are also another multitude of reasons, another multitude of ways that she could have handled that situation differently. She could have tagged one of the men in and said, hey, I can't get control of this. Can one of y'all step in, right? Absolutely. It's not about protecting Hank. I understand what you're saying, Ali, about there is a correction that needs to happen amongst women. I get what you're saying, and I agree with you on that front, right? It's not about protecting Hank. Hank is a full-grown man. It's about women correcting themselves. That does not lead to that level of escalation where Hank is in a situation where he needs to react in that way. I follow you. But here's the thing is, like, we keep beating in on this conversation after Shane has said, I tried to step in, it didn't work. I should have pushed the mute button. In hindsight, I definitely should have, right? I didn't feel comfortable about it. Even when she said I was thinking about how JR would work, how JR would handle the situation, I came in and said, hey, Shan, you're not a man. You can't think about it the way that JR would, right? We're having these conversations about correcting each other literally in real time and still being told that women don't hold each other accountable, right? Like, that doesn't really add up to me. Hang on. That doesn't really add up to me, right? Because Shan is saying I was wrong. Hank has said, you know what, like, I'm assuming, I haven't heard his reaction to it. He's saying, like, I stand on the way that I handled the situation.
He apologized. He apologized, which means he acknowledged his part in it.
And that's fine. I don't think he did anything wrong. That's me. That's my personal opinion. I've expressed that. I don't think he did anything wrong. I didn't think he needed to apologize, but he felt he needed to. He did. That's great, right? So at what point do we say, okay, women, because we talk about women should not be leaders all the time. It is a man's role to lead. At what point do we say, okay, this is no longer, like, a woman is no longer equipped to handle it past this certain point, right? And stop holding them accountable past that point, right? If we're going to have the conversation that women are not fit to lead, why are we having these expectations of them to move like leaders? I'm going to say, because I've had experience in these spaces where I have to mute people, I would never have hesitated. Why? Because I've practiced in that. And I've also been under men who've guided me on when it's appropriate to mute and when it's not. If you have not had that experience, if you have not had that training, if you have not had a man lead you in that way, and you literally don't know any better, at what point do we say, you should have done it, you should have done it, you should have done it, past the point where the woman says, I get it, I mishandled that situation? Like, how long are we going to keep badgering that in? That young lady is fully responsible, accountable, whatever word you want to put in, for the way that she conducted herself. But it turns on the other women in the panel that had the ability to move in a way that would have changed the direction of that conversation. How long are we going to keep badgering this in past their capabilities?